So let's rant about this whole new Bowsette thing that's recently blown up over on Twitter. Partially because I want to actually grow this channel and start doing more videos, more kind of rants with probably fighting game footage over it, kind of like a Leafy's here style, but actually done better because Counter-Strike sucks. That's reason one. And reason two is because I am actually legitimately shocked and interested and fascinated by it. Because, like, when I think about it, it's really like, okay, so it was. So, one thing, everyone doesn't like. I don't think there's anyone that actually legit really likes the new Super Mario Brothers the overall new Mario Brothers side series. I mean, they're good. Like they're like Mario McDonald's. They're just like they're like fast food. You know, they can just be cranked out by now, and no one is really going to care. But every fan of Mario is just going to play it because it's still Mario. Mario is good like by default. But no one actually cares really about it, at least in the terms of like culturally. I mean, people care culturally about Odyssey, about Sunshine, about Galaxy, about any of these other games. Even Paper Mario has more of an impact. Whereas New Super Mario Bros. You practically nothing. And you know, it was a small thing of a small thing. One small thing is that like the one new addition was this power up for Toadette, and like Toadette in herself is just a very obscure character. And she gets this very weird power up where she turns into Peach. So that's like kind of weird, but it's not something that people would really like take notice of too much. Like it's not really. I mean, it's just one power up. It's like, I don't know, something like the penguin suit in the previous game becoming suddenly a gigantic meme. And even then, it wasn't about Peachette in herself, the power up, but about a fan comic from like a guy who's totally unknown, who was totally unknown up to this point. Like maybe he had some kind of a fan base previously, but up until the comic when he made Bowsette, no one actually like cared about him or knew him. And you know, it's again like people would like it's easy to say that, oh, it's because it's Super Mario and that's popular, and because it's a colorful female character design and it has like potential to satisfy some kinks for some people. So I'd get it if it like became like an obscure little kind of if it had its own like fan cult, but like the sheer gigantic amount of popularity that it got is just shocking. It's like, I think right now it's number 4 trending on Twitter. Like on Twitter, on like one of the biggest platforms, it became so insanely popular and everyone is into it. Like every artist right now in this moment is either considering drawing Bowsette or has already done so. Every artist on the internet, I can guarantee you, is either thinking about it or has already done it. So like I'm sitting here, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, why, how is this possible? Like, yeah, tits, okay, but like not to this extent. This wouldn't be such an incredibly gigantic, like almost movement. Like this is an event, actually. This is a cultural event. This is something that, like, if Lemon or some future YouTube or internet historian is going to like make some kind of history book on it or article, this is probably going to be somewhere here. It is a mark. This is like a mark of a shift in our culture. Like, Jesus, how did this happen? Like, how? I mean, Jesus. I'm just I'm not even ranting right now. I'm just going to sit here in silence and just think how did I mean, yeah, it's an attractive character design and you can get really creative with it, and it's inherently appealing because it's like Peach was always a popular character because female characters are really popular on the internet for the obvious reasons. Oh yeah, and there's also the whole another dimension to it, that it's kind of like LGBT-ish, like, because it's still supposed to be Bowser underneath. It's supposed to be like, so I don't want to say the word trap, or whatever other word. I don't really want to get into this whole topic because I'm a white male and I don't know shit about fuck. But yeah, it has also this whole other dimension that people seem to just not care about. Like, I'm pretty sure there are straight guys who are fans of Bowsette, completely aware of the fact that she's just Bowser underneath that, like, change. And I love that. I love that it's like this way. It's kind of like, it's actually making people consider, because like my whole, let me just describe my whole idea of sexuality, my whole philosophy on sexuality. Everyone is gay, everyone is a queer, everyone is straight, and everyone is everything within sexuality, because everyone has the potential to be that way. It's like, I am right now, I don't want to say that right now I am a straight guy, because maybe in the future I'm going to consider I'm going to find a guy that I like, and shit, now I'm bi or something. So I don't want to close myself off to these options, because I know that I don't know, It's like, I haven't met a guy yet that has made me consider it, but I'm open to the fact that that's going to happen at some point. If I live a life that's like I'm not isolated within just a very small group or within myself. If I go out into the world and meet a ton of new people, sooner or later I'm going to find a guy that I find attractive, or a girl or a trans person who I find attractive, or anything else. So like, sexuality to me isn't like predestined. It's something you discover up to until the end of your life. So it's like that. And I love Bowsette because she's actually making people question that and think about that. She's like making people think that, hey, maybe if I'm already like, it's obviously like it's not gay to like a trap, ho 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 ho, but like, it's making people think about it. And with guys who are straight and who think of themselves as straight and who want to stay straight to the maximum, when they find this is like the point, the most like, if think of it like as a spectrum, and it's straight on one end and gay on the other end, and liking Bowsette is like on the straight part, like maximally on the straight part, but just a little bit to the other side. So it's not completely straight. So people are more willing to like go outside of their of their box, So I like the fact that it's that way, and it's weird that it became popular. I don't want to say it became popular despite of this fact, but like, it's not something that would have helped, and it's still like a big part of this. There's also a whole narrative around this. Sorry for a bit. I have a cold right now because Polish weather is just horrible. All right, so what else? Yeah, there's the whole narrative part of this whole Bowsette thing, because it's like this is like an alternate ending of Super Mario Odyssey, and it's like an alternate ending of the whole Mario series or the whole Mario narrative, where both the enemy and the main hero realize that saving the damsel in distress or capturing her is ultimately meaningless, and they just try to find their own different way of happiness. It's like if you had like a typical action movie, like a postmodern deconstruction of an action movie where the guy just doesn't save the girl because he sees that the girl is just an asshole, so he just goes somewhere else and tries to find a new way of life. It's like something like that, and it's really funny. And on the one hand, and on the other, it creates this whole new dimension of a narrative into a game series that's all about like not thinking about the narrative. The reason Miyamoto is a sexist and made Peach the way she was, he made the whole narrative the way he was, is because he just didn't care. He probably didn't even consider for like 5 seconds anything about the narrative. He just wanted to make a game. He just wanted the most simple reason that people would want, straight guys would want to play the game. Like, so any, like, I hate it when people call Miyamoto like sexist, or the whole Anita Sarkeesian thing about damsels in distress, because it's not his fault. If the culture was different, he just do it in that different way. If like the cultural idea was that it's the woman saving the man from the bad guy, Miyamoto would have done it that way. So like on one hand, yeah, he's kind of perpetuating a cycle of this whole narrative, but on the other hand, he's like not. He's just in the middle of this self-perpetuating cycle. And if it was a different cycle, he'd just do it mindlessly in that, at least when it comes to the narrative. So it's like that. But this whole Bowsette thing actually introduces a different dimension into it. I'd like to see like Nintendo actually make Bowsette canon, which is especially possible right now because she's just so big of a thing right now. But a week later, no one's going to care, and it's going to all just blow over. But I'd actually like for Nintendo to make Bowsette canon because of because it would actually, I think, it would introduce that whole narrative element into the series. Like, of course, they would have to like desexualize Bowsette and give her a different name. Because the name doesn't make sense, but I'd like for them to do it. Maybe even in the new Mario, in the new Paper Mario series or Mario and Luigi series, which are a bit more narrative driven. I'd like for them to do that just because of the possibilities that this gives to the narrative. And it's not like this is something that Nintendo has never done. I mean, there was Super Mario RPG where Bowser and Peach and Mario all partnered up to defeat a bigger evil. So it's not like the idea isn't already kind of somewhere there, but it's good. Bowsette is a cool new idea. Maybe she's going to become canon. If she does it, it'll be cool. If not, we'll have the porn, so that's always good. Yeah. So that's like the general thoughts. But you see, I kept talking, but I actually still haven't solved the riddle of just why this became so popular in such a short span of time. Like, I don't know. I mean, this is something that would have happened on the internet of the early 2000s. Like, on the in the beginnings of YouTube and the internet, these kinds of things just kept happening. These weird offshoots, these weird niche things could have suddenly become popular for one reason or another. And now the internet has changed in a way where the big companies, the big firms, and the mainstream media have all kind of integrated themselves into the internet, and because of the power and the resources they've already have from being on TV, they can do a lot more things, and they can shift like the general culture into the direction of them becoming popular on YouTube and not all of this weird niche stuff. So in that way, Bowsette is kind of nostalgic for people who were still on the old internet, for people who were into that whole weirdness and randomness of the old internet. Um, and I hope things like that keep happening, because I like that too. Even if I'm not into like Bowsette as an idea in generally or right now, I just like the fact that she's popular because maybe because of that, because she represents this. And maybe she's like a maybe she's like a beacon of hope for the internet to finally become, for YouTube to finally become the way it used to be. Make YouTube great again. Yeah, that would be cool. That would be great. That would be awesome. Hmm. It still feels like that's not the answer. Like it's like that's not that answers like why it's good that this happened, but it doesn't still answer how this happened. Maybe it's because like the way the internet used to work, the parts that made the old things that came from obscurity and became popular, maybe a part of this all the algorithm or whatever system was, it made it so that these old things became popular. Maybe it's that which worked now for Bowsette, but like it still feels like incomplete. I still don't feel like I've cracked the code on Bowsette. Yeah, Jesus. How did this? Ah, Jesus. I'm just thinking. I'm just thinking. I'm thinking. What are you thinking about? And I don't know if I'm going to turn on the comments section for this video, because I'm 90% sure that someone is going to say, tits equals popular, there's your answer. And I hate these kinds of answers because they're just. I hate it when people just dismiss things when they don't understand them, when they just dismiss things because of the most obvious reason. And I'm not like that. I love overthinking stuff because I think everything is complex and weird and has its own reasons, thousands of reasons, not just one reason. Nothing just becomes as like if Bowsette just became a small, like I said it already, if it was small, obscure, but still popular within this some small community, I would have said, yeah, that's just an attractive character design and that. But it became number 4 trending on Twitter. You don't become this. It's not a normal thing that happens. When was the last time that something like this happened on Twitter? Or on the internet in general? This is not something that happens normally. So You can't just say that. You can't just say that tits equals popular, because it's not that way. Because then everything will become popular. Do you understand? Jesus. Ugh. You know, I'm not going to solve this right now. I'm not going to probably. Maybe we'll never know. Maybe it'll be a mystery forever. We'll never understand the mystical power that Bowsette had, the influence that Bowsette had on the internet. Maybe we'll just never know. Maybe it was aliens. Fuck it. I'm done. I'm done ranting.